This is the Retro Inc. podcast. Welcome back.
Hello everyone and welcome back to the Retro Inc. podcast with me, Andy, and my co-hosts Adam and Jeremy. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
I almost forgot your names then. How you doing? Good?
I'm good, yeah. I'm very good.
You
thanks,
there?
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, finally I've had to get my Christmas spirit on today. So
Your Christmas spirit, what's that, gin?
today, yes. Gin and bitter lemon.
Just a
I
bit
know
of
that
lemon.
mulled wine stuff.
Oh, I love mulled wine. Me and you have a very different picture of Christmas. I think what it is, I don't actually enjoy mulled wine. It's just because it's Christmas, I make myself enjoy it.
No, I can't make myself enjoy something I don't enjoy.
Oh no, but it's the romance of it, wasn't it? I mean, I usually go down to Rochester at Christmas time,
Right.
and it's all the romance and pageantry of it. You know, I'm standing there at the Christmas market, and it's cold, and there's roasted chestnuts and mulled wine, and
People.
It's just,
But there's
yeah,
people everywhere.
Yeah, I know. That's a shame. I'll give you that. But after a few mulled wines, you don't care. So.
No, the mulled wine is just disgusting. It's basically someone got some off wine. So what can we do? We'll warm it up a little bit. No, it still tastes horrible. We got any crap in the cupboard we can chuck in it? How about them spice jars? We've been using them all year. There's a little bit left in the bottom. Just chuck that in, see what it tastes like. Oh, well, that'll do.
So isn't this coming from the man who puts vodka in his red wine?
Yes, indeed, it is.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember what was in the parents' cupboards when we were kids? Because there were some pretty hideous.
Yes,
looking
but my mum
drinks
will
back
not be
then.
happy if I talk about this on here.
It's a
Her
family
Toy Story figures, Buzz and Woody.
I'm talking about the sort of the booze. It was that Advocaat and
yeah.
those sort of drinks at Christmas that
My parents
only
didn't
came
drink.
out. It was sherry, wasn't it? Sherry, brandy.
No, not
mulled
in my house,
wine.
mate. They used to have
Martini.
cocktail parties
Once
in
a
the
year,
80s.
they'd have a martini.
Yeah, baby sham.
Right. See, I don't drink, Jeremy. That's the thing. I used to own my own, well, not own my own pub, but I used to be a landlord in a pub and that. And yeah, I think I've done enough drinking for 5 lifetimes. I mean, everyone will know the last time I got drunk if they listen to this, because that was about a month ago and I wasn't doing too well. And before that, it was Christmas. So, you know, I probably drink 2 or 3 times a year. But when I do, I go silly.
Yeah, I'll probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Each their own. But yeah, I mean, I remember parents' cabinet, cocktail cabinet, because they used to have cocktail parties back in the 80s. And I remember they had these the umbrellas and the little cocktail picks they were like glass, coloured glass shapes and things, and
little bottles of
cheesy
weird
tack
sort of
now,
drinks.
and it was like parfait amour and banana liqueur and all the different coloured, things, the cocktails to put in there and mixers. Yeah, it's crazy.
They're always in a sideboard. Did your parents have a sideboard?
Yes, they did. Yeah,
where
good
you
old
pull this thing
sideboard.
opened up, and it would all cascade open, and there'll be lights inside and little glass shelves, little turntable in there as well.
Yeah, the 80s was
speakers
great.
On the end. Oh, I love that. Yeah, love that. Well, mate, I think you're going to need to have what you would call a stiff one after a certain trailer.
Yes,
because Jeremy and I have seen a certain trailer for Avengers 4 Endgame.
I may have ruined it a little bit for him.
Well, no, let's hope not.
You
I don't
haven't.
think you have. No.
Now, I'd just like to say I've done this for the fans because I told you to about this drop-in.
You've done extremely well,
still
mate. I can't believe.
Not watched it.
I
don't know anything about it.
I wasn't going to watch
2
it.
hours before recording, and Jeremy ruined it for me.
You told me to watch it.
I told you to watch it. I didn't tell you to go tell me what was in it. But you sent a meme, didn't you? To be honest, I didn't really pay too much attention, but I saw a character that I kind of expected to see anyway, so I'm not surprised wholly. But yeah, I've held off for the fans for this because I was going to do a live reaction on Saturday night. But to be honest, my wife and her cousin were getting absolutely trashed and laughing like a pair of idiots. So there was no way I was recording anything.
Can I just say that I thought the picture that you uploaded to the Facebook group was fantastic of our good friend Jeremy as Thanos. That was fantastic.
That was
My
Saturday
son
night.
loved it. I actually think it's his screensaver now. So
I think I'm going to get one of the T-shirts in the store.
So let's crack on without further ado.
Right. Okay. So let's do this. So
let's do this because I'm very excited to see and hear this again.
Right. So
I'm very excited to see the look on his face.
Here we go.
All right.
Stay on. Hey, Miss Potts. If you find this recording, don't feel bad about this. Part of the journey is the end. Just for the record, being adrift in space with zero promise of rescue is more fun than it sounds. Food and water ran out 4 days ago. Oxygen will run out tomorrow morning. That'll be it. When I drift off, I will dream about you. It's always you.
Oh man. Just a little white wave. Oh, look at that.
Thanos did exactly what he said he was going to do. He wiped out
Hey, he's got no beard.
50% of all living creatures.
We lost. All of us. We lost friends. We lost family. We lost a part of ourselves. This is the fight of our lives.
This is going to work, Steve.
I know it is. Because I don't know what I'm going to do if it doesn't.
Hi, is anyone home? This is Scott Lang. We met a few years ago at the airport in Germany. I got really big.
Is this an old message?
Ant-Man, I know you know that.
It's the front door.
That's me. Can you buzz me in?
Oh, I like that.
So, what do you think?
Yeah, man, that looks good, doesn't it?
Now, one of the things I think that makes this trailer so special is that it's almost at the beginning like a mini film in itself. It's less of a trailer, more, or almost like that particular first scene that we see Tony Stark sitting there. That they could have filmed that and it not being in the film. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, just the trailer. Yeah.
Yeah, and then you get these cut scenes, which I think are quite special because it links so massively to the Infinity Gauntlet comic books. So, how do you feel after watching that?
I want to go watch it again. Yeah. It raises a lot of questions. Obviously, Hawkeye is Ronin, isn't it?
That's right. Yes.
Yeah, Ronin now.
Yeah.
But obviously, looking at that, it raises a lot of questions with. I noticed it was Black Widow and Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's some time travel or dimension stuff going on there because they both look like their younger selves.
Indeed, look at the suit.
Yeah, and
he's back in his Winter Soldier suit.
And that is not what two people would look like after going through the decimation. Tony Stark looked like he'd just been through hell and back. So did Bruce in that trailer. But those two looked
fresh.
Yeah.
Although her hair is still blonde. Her hair is still blonde though. From
but this guy was at the battle in Wakanda, fighting Thanos, and he had this big grizzly beard. But now all of a sudden the decimation's happened, and he's in the shtick. He's found time to go and get his hair bleached and.
Can I point out that's not a grizzly beard? That's just a beard. This is a grizzly beard.
That is a grizzly beard. I'll give you that.
Did you saw Thanos' armor in the Scarecrow in the field? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is where he's had this dream and idea that once his plan has come to fruition, that he'll build his farm on Titan once again, and that his armor is sitting there like a scarecrow.
That's
again
taken
comes
from the comic book directly,
It is,
isn't it?
it is,
I mean, let's be honest. The guy is obviously deranged, but his idea was absolute. Once he'd done it, he'd done what he wanted to do, and that was it, wasn't it? This wasn't someone vying for control of the universe, and it was someone that wanted to reset, and that's what he's done. He's gone back to
He genuinely thought he was doing the right thing as well.
Yeah. Well, he's never killed anybody that didn't have it. There wasn't a purpose to it. This is the whole thing with Thanos. He isn't somebody who just goes and recklessly kills people. He's killed for a purpose, and those that have got in his way, he's pushed them aside.
If you actually look at it, he's genuinely got heart. I mean, if you look back at that scene in Infinity War where Gamora says, "I always hated that chair," if you actually look at his actions, he sits on the step next to the chair. He doesn't sit in the chair out of respect for her not liking it. So deep down inside, the guy has got morals. They're just displaced. If you look at it in the bigger picture. Aside from that, I mean, this trailer, what I'm seeing from this now is what the questions that I'm raising is who is going to be on Thanos' side with this, because I'm sure it could even be Tony Stark, or it could be, I don't know, Thor maybe, that turns around and goes, do you know what? Since he's done this, things are a lot better now. Maybe
I don't think Thor's ever going to get over what he did to Loki and Heimdall.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one to choose. I'm just,
I think it's very likely that Thor's sister will come back.
Hela.
Yeah, that's very likely.
The other question I've to raise is the Superman effect that we saw in Batman versus Superman, of who's idolizing Thanos and who's against him, because factions would naturally start. This is essentially a religion. It would be a cult religion, and there will be people that would be followers of Thanos here that will suddenly jump on the bandwagon and be like, no, the guy had the right idea. And that's what I want to see from this movie. I know it's going to be a long one, so there's a bit of room to tell a story, and if you can do what you did in Infinity War, then you've got more room to maneuver in this, I think, because this is going to have more of a linear storyline of we've got to sort this out, rather than the whole where are all the Infinity Stones, where is all the team. You had to write so many characters in this time. They've got half the amount of people to work with straight off the bat, quite literally 50-50. But yeah, it looks gorgeous. I want to go back and watch that again. Really do.
So with the Hawkeye Ronin thing, I read from that his family all went, and he's a very angry man.
Yes.
From the look of it. I mean, I haven't read the comics, so I can't.
Yeah.
There's no source material for me. I can only read into it what I see. He looked an angry man.
Yeah, and that's what I think we need to see from him, because I actually quite like Hawkeye as a character, but obviously it's one of those where I think I would actually like to see a solo Hawkeye film, because he'd get to have his moment in the sun, where he doesn't get that. He doesn't get that in this film, because in the other movies, and it's what they said, I think they've mentioned it before, what's he going to do? Fire some arrows at some people when you've got gods and monsters, and it's ridiculous. It's a strange character to have in there, because even Black Widow seems a slightly underpowered sometimes. She's in that same camp as him.
Yeah.
But
she has no superpowers.
Yeah. But maybe it's, I don't know why they keep her in there. Like, it's like him. He didn't fit. He wouldn't have fit in Infinity War. If he'd have been in there against Thanos, he would have just squished him with his little finger and moved on to the next person. But I think this will give him his moment, because let's be honest, I don't think Thanos is there. Thanos is back home doing what he wanted to do now. I don't think he's going to be the arc of this story. I think the majority of this story is them going to be trying to get everyone back.
Well, one person who has returned, as we saw in the last scene, is Scott Lang. And there's a question there. Well, how did he get out? If you've seen Ant-Man and the Wasp, how did he get back from the quantum realm is the question, and who rescued him? And that, I think, is got to be Captain Marvel for sure.
Wouldn't she turn up with him if she did that?
Well, that's
say she's not in that trailer, mate.
Yeah,
we've seen this in films before, where they remove people from scenes and certain things from scenes just to give bait and switch on you. Because let's be honest, that works better because that teases a general audience to turn around and say, Scott Lang's in this. How the hell did he get there? But if you put Carol Danvers in that shot with him, everyone goes, "Oh, look, she saves him in
the
Captain Marvel."
Yeah,
take her out of that frame.
That's right.
And it gets people like us sitting here doing exactly this. And it may just be one of those. She could just be off shot. Literally 2 seconds later, she could walk into that shot as well. You don't know.
So
the scene with
Captain Marvel, could she do things like that?
Oh yeah.
Captain
Absolutely.
Marvel.
Yeah.
She's essentially one of the most powerful
entities
entities in the universe.
Yeah.
She'd go toe to toe with Thor, no problem.
The thing that you need to sort of, once we see this film, we'll get the backstory of how she was taken from Earth and became one of the.
So doesn't she at one point as well harness the power of a sun in the comic books or something? I'm sure she does. She
has all the elements of Thor. She has all the power that Tony Stark has with his suits. She can travel through
my
space
introduction
and time.
to her was the Avengers Assemble cartoons that Freddie and I used to watch when I was young. So I got to learn about her a few years ago, and seeing how powered she was in that. But I don't know how much of that's going to come through.
I think they'll tone it down. I think they'll tone it down because they have to. To be honest with you, I think having someone like that in there. This is why I've always had a problem with Superman as a character, because it just seems futile to me. Like the Man of Steel, you put him against Batman. I don't care what suit you give him or anything. If Superman wants to beat the granny out of him, he's going to have him hands down, and it's he can turn back time by flying around the world. He can stop and move in play. It's ridiculous, his strength. And then you can put him in a film versus Batman in a metal suit. No, don't wash for me. He could have picked him up and lobbed him.
Superpowers.
No, well, he's rich.
He's got a gravelly voice.
Yeah, sexy gravelly voice. Where's Adam gone?
Well, I've just very, very interested as well that Avengers Endgame set a new record with a staggering 289 million views in its first 24 hours online. It's broken all records previously set by Marvel themselves back in November 2017, when the first trailer for Infinity War was watched by 230 million times in a single day.
Did it beat The Lion King?
It certainly did.
Yeah.
That's an
Disney must be kicking themselves, mustn't they? Having one of their trailers beat another trailer.
Quiet year next year for them, mustn't it? Walt will be turning in his grave.
I think we'll be rebranding as a Disney podcast next year, to be honest.
Well,
there is.
I'm still thinking that actually this movie is going to break all box office records. Full stop, don't you think?
I don't think it's going to be Avatar.
No, I still don't think it's going to be Avatar, because let's be honest, if we look at it, Black Panther's still taken more than Infinity War has. So I'm sure that's the case, isn't it? I'm sure Black Panther's taken more.
I thought Infinity War was right up in the top 10. Right, I thought it was
Black Panther, mate.
Or now, wasn't it?
Let me have a quick look. I might be wrong.
Wasn't it?
Box office mojo. There you go. But what are you two's thoughts on this trailer? While I'm looking for this, let's have a.
Well, I'm just. I've always been since the announcing of Infinity War and the Infinity Gauntlet. I've been really interested to see how aligned it is with the comic book.
Oh no, mate, you're right. Sorry. Yeah, it has taken more money now.
I mean, certainly for the comic book version of Clint Barton, he's very sort of famed for his temper, and which is probably why he's going to get some kind of revenge as his new incarnation as Ronin. And I'm he's gonna demand a chance at vengeance against Thanos, which I think is going to be very exciting. That's what I'm.
So what can you tell me about Ronin then? Because I don't know anything about Hawkeye's progression into the Ronin character.
Well, it literally is what we're going to be seeing. I think it is showing how bitter and angry he has been. Because let's face it, he wasn't in the last movie. He was, wasn't
probably angry about that.
So we don't know what he's been up to in the meantime. And reading the Infinity
Cross stitch. I reckon he's got his cross stitch.
Yeah, he's probably just building a barn or something. We don't know. We just don't know where he's been at. But
he's well annoyed. He's been building a barn, and it was for some guy called Thanos, and he didn't realise.
If he's had a lot of family time, and then he's seen everything playing out without his inclusion, and then his family disappears in front of him, which I believe we probably will see that very sad demise of his family in front of him. But that's going to give him a call to action.
I don't know. His wife and kid were pretty annoying.
And let's face it. I mean, he's got the weapons of he's going to be carrying it. We saw him with a sword. He's got a bow and arrow. He's going to be literally like Ronin the samurai. And I think this is what his inclination is this hooded, stronger, more vengeful kind of character. Where he was very calm in the Avengers films, this one he's got and quite rational. I think he may well turn out to be a very irrational character. I think that's quite exciting.
And if you look at it as well, hasn't Jeremy Renner been working out there?
He's looking buffed up, isn't he? So I think
his neck's twice the size of his waist was in the first Avengers film.
Indeed,
the thing about Jeremy Renner, though, he does action so well, because I enjoyed his Bourne movie. Yeah, and he carried that fine. So
and he was in one of the Mission Impossibles as well, wasn't he? If I wasn't mistaken, was he in Mission Impossible?
I've never seen them.
I've watched the Avengers this week, and I watched it with the director's commentary. And Josh Whedon said how precise he is at his stunts, and that he can do pretty much most of the things that he was called to do. And I mean, it definitely shows in his work, in his acting work, how good he is at what he's doing.
He's a phenomenal actor. He's a phenomenal actor. He's probably the character I'm looking forward to seeing the most.
I'd like to see.
Have you seen him play piano as well and sing?
No.
He does a comedy sketch. He's on one of the late night shows in America. He actually does a skit where he plays piano and sings, and it sings about being Hawkeye and the Avengers and how he's not as powerful as the rest of them, but he's got, it's a real. I'll send you the link later. It's really, and he's a very talented guy. Very talented.
I'd like to see how Bruce comes back from his battle with his, himself, because obviously he couldn't bring the Hulk back out of him. So I'd like to see where that goes as well. I think it's more character based. I think that I'm looking forward to is seeing how the existing Avengers find the strength to battle Thanos, and the Avengers we didn't see in
the Avengers that we didn't see in the trailer. I'd like to see what was going. We didn't see any Thor, did we?
Yeah, he's sitting there looking pretty PO'd.
Yeah, but
solemn. There's not a lot of him though. I mean, I'd like to see.
Oh, there's a lot of him that I'd like to see.
I'm sure there is.
Oh dear.
Yeah, we don't really know how much of the Guardians are left, do we? Do we know if all the Guardians? I mean,
is Rocket
gone?
It's only Rocket and Nebula, isn't it?
Peter went, didn't he? Yeah, because Gamora's dead.
Nebula will have the inside knowledge to how to defeat him, and I think she is key. And I'm pretty sure in the comic it was her and Tony Stark. Well, I'd just say Iron Man that defeats Thanos in the end. So let's just see if that is where it plays out.
Didn't do a lot of good last time, and she ended up stretched out, pulled to pieces.
She's again. I think characters change, and that's one thing that I think the Russo brothers have done. They've taken these characters that we've seen by other directors change from. For example, if we look at the first incarnation of Thor. And then the second film, a different director, sort of take a different route. Third one, it was almost himself, taking the mickey out of himself. And now we're starting to see a little bit of that with a much stronger Thor who's got a new weapon. And he's got now, he's just going to be less fit. It's going to be more vigilant against
was
Thanos,
one thing that I did notice with this trailer, and that is there was no comedy in it. And I obviously understand why. But the last few films.
It was dark, wasn't it?
Yeah, we had the whole Scott Lang bit at the end there, where he's kind of that was a light moment in it, but I don't think there's much room for comedy in this.
I don't think there needs to be.
I think this is the final part of 10 years worth of movies. I think we might be getting.
I think that where Marvel is winning over DC, because they are. Is the comedy aspect. I think that even Infinity War, despite how bleak the ending was, it was still funny.
Yeah.
There was so many funny bits in it. So it's still going to be a lighter tone, but the trailer itself
I think
was
Jeremy,
bleak right up until we saw Scott Lang at the end.
I think that. Well, I think this is the same thing. I think we're going to see a very emotional film. It's going to, but by the third act, we're going to see a lot of action, and I think by the end, we're going to see a lot of humour. I can see some light relief leading on to these separate films that are going to be coming well after.
See, I having not read the comics, I can't see where they're going to go. That's what I'm so looking forward to.
Right.
I haven't got a clue what's coming.
I'm going to put this down here. I'm going to write this down as well. I'm going to ask you now. Right. So 52 minutes in. Right. Who's going to die? Predictions.
Captain America.
Right. Okay. Jeremy Sands, Cap. Yeah.
Most of them, actually.
I don't think
probably all of them.
Die. I don't think anyone's going to die. I think.
Oh no, they have to.
No, I think we'll be saying goodbye, but not goodbye in a sense of death. I think we're going to see these characters live on, but in different times.
What about different dimensions and different Earths,
that's right,
parallel
exactly.
universes?
Yeah, exactly. I don't think there'll be any. No one ever dies in comic books anyway, so there'll be no reason to kill anybody off.
Yeah, but comic books, you can just draw the character. These people have other jobs they want to do.
It doesn't mean that,
Chris Evans has already one movie over his contract.
I don't think that's
I'm making mine Iron Man and Cap.
Do you?
Yeah.
Both of them. They're going to make an ultimate sacrifice here to save everyone else and to kill Thanos. Those two are going together, and it'll be the first time that you see them really join the forces and become united. And that'd be a nice swan song for them. And yeah, I'm going for the both of them.
So, with regards to Cap, there's a lot of rumours about John Cena taking over the role.
Yeah, but you'd never see him.
I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to leave this on a very high note, leaving everybody intact in different areas of time and dimension and a different Earth even, and keep everything very, very light, ready to move on to.
But even if they don't kill off Steve Rogers that we know, they're going to put him in another universe or another dimension.
Can I make
and
another
we won't
prediction
see him anymore.
Can I make another prediction?
This
is going to end. This is going to end with an end credits sting, as you'd expect. But what have we've led up to for the last 10 years is this moment, isn't it? This is the end game. This is the whole point of it. This is a reset button for the franchise in a way. This story arc for 10 years is over, but we've got a lot more films coming. So like you say, where do we go from here? Right? Where are they taking this from here? Because this is the end. If they kill Thanos and reset everything, they've got to start a new story arc. This is going to end. This is my prediction. There's already talks have been had. Contracts have been signed. This is going to end up with some X-Men in it, setting up an arc for Secret War.
That's a huge possibility.
I don't know. What is Secret War?
Well, we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, we will.
You can't do that to me.
Yes, we can, because that is a very, very, again, that is another 20 odd year story arc, almost, and also very, very similar to.
I'm just going on the fact that we've had the Fox thing being spoken about. Right, we've had that spoken about, and it's all gone quiet. So you never know. It come out of nowhere that Sony had given back Spider-Man for the use of the Marvel movies. Right, it come out of nowhere. We don't see this stuff. We hear the big news, and all the little bits, all the intricacies, and all the contracts, and all. We don't hear about that until it actually comes out and they're ready to say. Right, so Fox has gone quiet. Netflix are dropping their other characters. Daredevil's in Secret War, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he is indeed.
Yeah. So yes, so that's disappeared. Then we've got Disney Plus coming. Right. This is Disney. Have done 10 years. They're now setting up the future of their other franchises, all on this platform. We've seen it with Star Wars happening right now. Right. We see all this Mandalorian, all these other things are beginning, and then we're going into a new generation of Marvel films with a clean slate, essentially. This story's happened. We've got these actors on board for future films. They've signed their contract. We've got all this happening in the background that people don't know about. We've got our own platform to launch things off of. I believe we will see the end credits thing will be much akin to the Thanos thing, where we saw just his face.
Yes.
We'll see one of the mutants Even maybe Professor X, someone playing Professor X in a chair, will turn up, and that will be the.
We'll have the Illuminati.
I'm going to be careful here not to swear, but the holy crap moment.
Yeah.
And then it cut, and we will have to wait 6 years before we see anything else to do with that happen, like we did with Thanos. I think we'll have all these other movies that we know about that are coming, and they'll drop little hints, but it will until we get the big bad of this next generation of movies. It will be 6 years max, probably, maybe a couple, 3-4 years down the line before we actually see that person. Like we did with Thanos, we saw him and then he disappeared. We didn't see him, hide nor hair of him, for a few years, and that's my prediction for the future of it.
What about a Deadpool? Is he going to turn up in any of them? Then do you think?
This again leads into my theory. Right?
That's why I'm leading you.
Yeah, it is. But why are we getting? I mean, I understand they say they're doing it for charity and to reach a wider audience. But why are we getting a PG-13 Deadpool?
We're not. We're getting a 15.
We're getting a 15. Okay.
Still can't take the kids to go and watch it.
But we're getting this downgraded Deadpool. Why? What is the actual reason for it? Because if you was going to do it, why didn't you do it to number 1? Because anyone that's going to see number 2, Once Upon a Deadpool, the kids aren't going to know the rest of the story. Now, I know that's not vitally important with it. It's sort of self-explanatory and everything, but I don't understand why they didn't do it the first one. And I think this is testing the water. That footage is already there. It's fresh. It's new. They've only got to shoot a couple more scenes to fill that movie up. And this will test the water. They'll put it on for a couple of days. Did it do well? Did people react well to this? Will Deadpool work in a PG-13 environment alongside these other characters?
Absolutely.
I'm going to watch it. I can't wait.
Because this takes less of a risk. Yeah, I know you go see it, but how will people react to it is the question. Will they go, me and you go, Deadpool doesn't work like this, and then Disney go, right, we're not having him in these movies because it's not going to work. Does Deadpool work like this? Yeah, to a degree, with a supporting cast, fantastic. We'll stick him in an Avengers movie. We'll stick him in with the X-Men if need be for more of the mature sort of films with Wolverine, etc., etc. And I've said it before a million times with Wolverine. We've got no Hugh Jackman anymore. He doesn't, he's doing this world tour of his music next year. He's got other things on the go. He's getting too old. He's 50 plus now to be playing Wolverine. He's looking better than he ever did, but how long is that going to last? Not another 10 years, I can assure you. But you try and recast someone as Wolverine right now in a role, people will not accept it. If you did another X-Men film, people would not accept it. You cast anyone as Wolverine in an Avengers movie, and people will lap it up because that is where we've wanted to see him for years. It's the Spider-Man thing. Everyone was like, oh, not again, not after Tobey Maguire, not after Andrew Garfield. You stick Tom Holland in the role in Captain America Civil War, everyone crapped their pants when he come on the screen because it didn't matter who was in that suit. Spider-Man was there on the screen with the Avengers. And you get a moment where Captain America's running onto a battlefield with Tony Stark and some guy jumps out of a bush with claws out wearing the yellow and brown suit. You're not going to care who that person is playing him.
I think what was significant in Deadpool 2 was the introduction of the new X-Men. The way that Deadpool was wearing his little T-shirt and the yellow and blue costumes were coming back. And the Grant Morrison series of new X-Men, I think, is where they're going to be taking this. Introducing... Well, let's face it, if they take that girl from Logan and bring her in as obviously a teenager with the adamantium inside her, I think that's acceptable.
But isn't everything on hold at the moment? Isn't Dark Phoenix is the last one? Why? Yeah. Because I think that they are rejigging this whole situation.
Yeah.
And we're going to see a new Wolverine. We're going to see a new X-Men. And I mean, even Deadpool's been taking the pee out of the timelines in the movies. And I think this is where they hit the reset button themselves, Fox, and go, yeah, just, if they've sold them back to them or they're joining up, whatever, this will go. This will be the next.
Who could you see as the new Wolverine, though? Who could play that part?
It's a bit female.
Because, I mean, Tom Hardy would have done it, I thought. But now he's Venom, he can't possibly be Wolverine. So who else can you think of?
I think it's a female. I think it's a female. I think that perhaps even the introduction that we saw in Logan is the key to this.
That we go to X-23, we just go straight there and don't have Wolverine. And then that would kind of work. But that again doesn't work with the timeline because they're set in the future. And this doesn't match up with the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This will be a full reset, and it will be Wolverine because that is where Sony and where Disney and Marvel know what they're doing with the fans, giving them what they want. We've seen it many a time.
If
I think,
Doctor
sorry.
Strange gets hold of the time stone, if he gets hold of that,
You've lost me now, mate.
What's that?
I thought you said Doctor Who. Sorry, you said Doctor Strange.
No.
Sorry, I thought for a
If Doctor
second that I
Strange,
thought,
if
no,
Doctor Strange gets hold of the time stone
it was the
and
higher.
resets everything,
Hypothetical.
then did you notice that the Cap opens he's got his little compass and he's got Peggy there.
Yeah. He
Now,
just needs to get over that. That is a long time in the past.
It is
Come on.
75 years or something. But let's just say that everything gets reset to where it once was. Now, as a viewer of these films, you can watch all these films in the right way, and it will mean not a jot of difference because it's all been reset to where everything was at the very beginning.
Well,
Now, you could say, well, did it ever exist? Well, of course, everything exists.
But this is
if
my
you
point
understand
exactly,
time, so-
because how do you explain away the X-Men existing in this universe? And that is by using something like this as a catalyst to be able to change the rest of everything. And they've been there since day dot.
Yeah.
And we've got a Captain America, we've got a Mystique, and we've got Deadpool over here, and all these things can all join up together. Because
but not
we
necessarily
can just,
with the same actor or actress playing
exactly my point. Exactly that. You can get rid of Captain America if you want to say he doesn't die. You can turn around to Chris Evans and go, right, you're released from your contract, you go. And then we can even have Sebastian Stan taking on the mantle of Captain America.
Absolutely.
As he does,
Or Falcon.
or Falcon. But we have Bucky take over the mantle of Captain America in the comics, and why not have that going forward? And this
It's been written, so
Yeah.
why not use it?
Yeah, and I mean, this is the thing. People were surprised at titles and they question it. And Infinity War was always called Infinity War because it was the Infinity War arc. Same as Civil War. They're using comic book title names for the movies. It's no surprise.
Yeah.
People sit there and spitball and guess and question, and it's all there written for you. And this is exactly going to my point. Secret War. It's there. It's written.
Yes,
it's
it
done.
is.
And it seems like the only natural jump from this point to reboot the franchise.
Andy, last year I sold the entire run of the Civil War, and there was the Spider-Man hardback, there was the X-Men hardback, there was the official Civil War book, there was the Underclass, I think it were, and then there was the X-Men one. I think there was probably 5 or 6 in this range of books. Each had their own arc within the Civil War story, yet we got a film all in one.
Yeah.
Which didn't encompass pretty much any of those books. It just took a little fraction of each and built into a 2-hour film. So I think Secret Wars is probably the most likely big event to come.
And they've been going cosmic as well.
And exactly. And I think we could be getting another 10 films before we get to, well, let's say we get
I'll try and hook
films.
you up, Jeremy.
We get 3 films,
well,
and then we 3 films. We start getting those after credit scenes that start bringing in the next villain, and they'll start be building that world, and I think that's extremely exciting. And then, of course, back in the head offices of Disney, not only are they doing that for Marvel and helping them out there, that Star Wars as well is also moving forward in the same kind of way, finishing off the adventures of Luke Skywalker and bringing in these.
See the way that man did that segue. That was beautiful, wasn't it?
Bringing in these older characters, that we've seen from previous films and developing that beautifully. Getting Episode 9 out of the way. And on that note, Kevin Smith visited very recently the set.
Very healthy looking Kevin Smith.
Didn't he look well for?
He did. Didn't he look well? Sound like me now.
Didn't he look well? Do you know why I look well? Because he's a vegan.
Is she getting on well? Hey, look at him.
Well, he absolutely thought the whole story and everything else that you saw there was fantastic. He said that J.J. Abrams is doing an amazing job directing the final installment of this latest trilogy, and obviously he's a huge Star Wars fan, so it's very easy to see why it was such a big deal for him. He was lucky enough, I think, to visit the Force Awakens set back in 2014, and in this new interview that he shared online, he was saying that he's a very small time director, and he was just on the big time movie set in England to visit J.J. Abrams, and what he saw of Episode 9 set was that he couldn't say anything about it at all. Obviously, there's a non-disclosure agreement, but all he wanted to say is, number one, is JJ is doing the Lord's work. This movie looks fantastic. It's a year away, but man, it looks fantastic. He said he wept on set because I saw someone give a career best performance. I wonder who that was. Somebody, he said he's seen in these movies before. He said he rolled a tear and it was darn powerful. I think that's got to be Mr. Driver, don't you?
It was Rebel Soldier number 5.
I think that's got to be Mr.
He
Driver.
picked up that power pack and put it on that ship. It was beautiful the way he executed that. Professional to the last. I don't know, maybe Adam Driver, but every film he does is his career best performance. I mean, that guy acts with his face.
So we've got 5 months till Endgame, and almost this time next year we'll be getting revved up for episode 9. I mean,
this time next year we'll be crawling the wall.
Oh my god!
Oh, well, you say that. I was actually on Facebook the other day. Was it yesterday? I can't remember when it was, but it popped up on my timeline from so many years from when Force Awakens came out. It was like 6 days to go. I kept posting updates, and I can't remember what I'd put on there, but it was the complete excitement, and it just brought me back to that moment of how that week leading up to the release of The Force Awakens, I was a mess. I was an absolute mess. And that day at work, I remember going in and everyone was just laughing at me because I could not function, because I knew that night I was going to see it and I did not want to be there. I could not wait. And
I was doing Talk Star Wars back those days. And so every week we had this massive build up, and it was, building up and up and up to it. And I think that night when The Force Awakens came on, when you sit in the cinema and Star Wars appeared on the screen, that was the most amazing thing.
Yeah.
Just your jaw dropped, and you could almost hear a massive inhalation from the hundreds of people, kind of everyone, and you could almost feel the smile on everyone.
Oh, it was palpable, mate. The atmosphere was palpable. I went to the cinema that you both went to see The Last Jedi at, and me and my mate Charlie, we got there. He nearly got a punch in the face that night because I went to pick him up and he'd got a new girlfriend and he wouldn't come out of the house, and I'm sitting outside waiting, and we had 20 minutes to be at the cinema. And at that point I'm getting really a little bit annoyed. Family show. So I finally dragged him out of the house, got him in the car, we drove down and watched it, and we, obviously you got your ads and trailers and stuff like that, so it wasn't on exactly bang on time. But as we walked into that room, you could have cut the air with a knife through excitement and tension. It was the weirdest feeling I've ever known. When I went to Star Wars Celebration, it was just people having fun. There's that excitement atmosphere in the air. But walked in there and it was just tension and excitement. And obviously you had the one idiot dressed up as Spock that was walking around, because there has to be one. But the cosplayers there, it was beautiful to see, and unfortunately we didn't get it again with The Last Jedi, but I think that's...
We certainly didn't get that with Solo, unfortunately.
No, but I think that's something to do with the excitement of a long period of time without Star Wars. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You're not going to get it.
We didn't ever think we'd get that experience again. We thought Star Wars was done. So to have that as people who grew up with it and watched everything at the cinema, to finally think there's another one, and to be in a room that was sold out, chock-a-block, every single seat was full up. We all had Star Wars T-shirts on, and we were all there at midnight. We didn't care about sleep or anything like that. And I've never felt kind of such an emotional thing with regards to a film. You could feel it. The energy in the room was just incredible. It was an amazing experience.
I always had my Star Wars pants on that night too. The thing I would recommend, guys, is if you're going alone to go and watch a Star Wars movie, book the carer seat. The carer seat to the back.
That's my seat. I always sit there.
I had a number of people come up and ask if I was all right. If I needed anything. I said,
were you crying again?
Probably.
I think it was more at the at the beginning. If you need someone to take you to the toilet, just give us a shout, that kind of thing. But the wonderful thing is that I find that when you're sitting in that seat on your own, you can completely get immersed without someone sitting next to you.
Yeah, I can do that anyway, mate.
I find that very tricky.
So I can switch off really easily to anyone.
Good for you. It's never been easy for me.
I can do that. I can switch people off.
Can you?
Hey?
Who said that?
I can switch both off. It's this little phone icon on the screen.
What I personally hope is that we get some decent toys this after this film.
I'm done
Or
with it, mate.
before
I'm
this
washing my hands. I'm washing my hands with all the
I
modern
just
toys.
hope we get some
I'm done
nice
with it.
vehicles and some toys, because Episode 8 had nothing. Had nothing.
I
There was
went
no
up to the
AT-AT
loft
Walker
today.
to buy, except in Lego. There was no ships to get, except those beaten up speeders that they used at the end. And they're just awful. There was nothing. And I really hope, toys-wise, they really push this merch this time.
I went to my loft today to get my Christmas decorations down because, yay, Christmas. But I stuck my head through the hatch, and there's 2 vintage AT-ATs there. There's a couple of Millennium Falcons and all that kind of stuff. And I just don't think that anything that they're going to bring out is ever going to feel that way. And the sculpts nowadays are incredible. I mean, they're almost photorealistic. And Big Head
as the
Hand
Black Series have gone on,
looks nothing like Harrison Ford, but he's just a better figure.
See, vehicles are vehicles, though, aren't they?
See, and I've done is, I've just washed my exactly that. I've washed my hands with the Black Series. I'm not collecting them. I've decided it's ridiculous. I like my Funkos. I know you're all both impartial to them, but I like my Funkos.
I love my Funkos.
Right,
I'm looking at them today. I love them.
And I think to myself, the best thing about them is I never have to set myself the goal of collecting the lot, because I'm never going to. So just enjoy the ones I've got.
Yeah.
When I look at, I can just enjoy them. But and it doesn't matter because they're just Funkos, but they look great. With the modern toys, there's this repack, that repack. I mean, the Force Awakens, the Last Jedi ones. I mean, there was 90% of the characters weren't even in the blooming movie, and I've not seen any solo ones anywhere. And to be honest, it's just getting ridiculous that every film they bring out new characters, new one of this one, a new version of that. And I'm thinking to myself, no, but I love my ships. That is one thing. And like you say, ship's a ship. If I bought the Asda exclusive, the Force Awakens TIE Fighter, and it looks cool, and it only cost me $7.50, and that looks great on my shelf because it's just a vehicle, and it's just one of those nice centerpieces. But I'm not doing the 3 3/4. I'm not doing them. I'd rather spend that money and buy myself some vintage, some beaters, and actually start trying to collect that again. After losing my whole collection, I want to go back to that, and that's my focus now.
If you get a chance to have a look at anything online other than Star Wars figures, check out the Marvel Select figures, because they have taken on leaps and bounds in articulation, great paint apps. They are just awesome, and they're bringing out. Yeah. They have brought out some new figures that are we've seen them at I think it was probably New York Comic Con, and they should be hitting stores very soon. But we don't have those stores like Toys R Us anymore to go and sort of find them. I know the Entertainer doesn't really stock. Does Smith stores stock Marvel Select or Marvel Legends?
Yeah,
it does. Well,
Asda's got some of the Marvel Legends as well.
It does. Well, my local shop doesn't have anything like that, unfortunately. But I'd be quite inclined to pick up a Thanos figure actually from Endgame.
I'll just send you a picture of me. It'd be fine.
Yeah,
no, I'd rather have.
I'm going to do a custom one. I'm going to get one of those 3D heads printed, and I'm going to replace it.
So, guys, we've had a week of watching. What have you guys been looking at this week? With your no shiny TV and myself with one in possession. Andy, what have you been watching first?
I have. You just throw me there because I was just trying to know. I watched today Santa Claus the movie, the Dudley Moore and John Lithgow one. Fantastic at it. It's classic. Love it. Makes me feel real Christmassy, that one. Since I last recorded with you guys, I also watched The Christmas Chronicle. That's what I wanted to talk about, because I'm feeling Christmassy. I'm not a Grinch like Jeremy. I enjoy Christmas and the festive season. I enjoy mince pies, and I like mulled wine because I have heart. I have soul. But yeah, no, I watched Christmas Chronicle with Kurt Russell.
Kurt Russell, yeah.
What, he was there with you when you watched it?
Yeah, he was indeed. Yeah, me and Kurt are good friends. So watch yourself. Doesn't matter how big you are. I've got Snake Plissken on my side.
I wouldn't argue with Kurt. No, sorry.
He was brilliant in that movie. Instant classic. Isn't it? Instant classic. Yeah. There was one moment where it kind of went a bit weird when the elves turn up, but after a couple of minutes they kind of a bit endearing, and I really enjoyed that as well. But his portrayal of Father Christmas was brilliant.
I do hope this gets released on Blu-ray and DVD and eventually goes on to terrestrial TV, because I think everyone should get a chance to see this.
It's an instant Christmas classic. They don't make them. They don't make them like that anymore.
That felt
job, a real good Christmas movie. And kind of watching Santa Claus the movie today, there felt like there was a couple of beats in there that felt the same.
Was there?
A bit of aesthetic that was the same, especially with the city and the way that he moved through the chimneys and stuff like that. So yeah, it was really, really good movie.
Directed by whom? Do you know who this was directed by?
By whom? No, I don't, mate. I'm afraid I didn't really pay that much attention.
I did think it had some really gorgeous cinematography.
It's a really good looking film, really glossy, really nice. But there is something I did want to talk about that I've been watching. It's a little bit out of left field, but I don't know if either of you have seen on Netflix a program called Love.
I have.
Yes, Judd Apatow.
It's fantastic.
Directed and
written and directed and starring in.
Paul Rust as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
so there's 2 series.
Yeah, 3. There's to be 3. I think
3,
I've seen. It says on Netflix on IMDb 3 series.
It's wonderful.
Have you seen, Jeremy, This Is 40 and Knocked Up and all the Judd Apatow films, the comedy movies?
Yeah, I'm not a massive fan of them. I've seen them, but
it's a shame because it's his style and it's a really clever thing to do. It's awkward, but nothing really happens. But what does happen is enthralling, and it's more to do with the writing and the performances than actually what's going on in the story. Because like This Is 40 with Paul Rudd and that, there's a lot of moments where there's silence in those movies. It's the awkwardness between them, like you say, it's that awkwardness, but that moments in between that build up the tension of the dialogue is so clever, and this happens in Love. I can't remember the young lady.
We get a very broken. Yeah, she's wonderful. She plays a character who's very broken.
She's an alcoholic, isn't she?
She's an alcoholic. She sleeps around.
But she's a sex addict and alcoholic
as well.
and
and she meets a guy who's probably as Jewish as they come.
He's Christian in it.
Nerdy.
They mentioned that a few times in it. He's actually Christian. Yeah, but he actually reminds me. Do you remember Day of the Tentacle?
No.
The old PC scum game. He's the spitting image of the main character in that. If there was ever to make that, Paul Rust would be.
He's a teacher on set of a TV show, isn't he? He teaches these
Wichita,
and they meet and kind of start their friendship, and it's
what it's about, isn't it? The whole premise is their relationship building, and it's say about the writing and how clever it is, because obviously you kind of warm to this young lady in it because of her problems and the emotional state she's in, and it starts off with her going through all these problems, and then she she meets this guy that is actually probably one of the only genuinely nice people she's ever had feelings for. And how she's dealing with that, she's
and
just
he has issues as well. He has
she's just sworn off of having any relationships or sex or drinking until the foreseeable future to sort herself out. And then she meets this guy, and she says, like, "What do I do? Do I pursue this?" But then obviously the trials and tribulations of her going down that route, and the self-destructive nature of her liking and loving someone like him that's actually good for her. And it's that she's trying to constantly push him away. And the writing is so well done that there is points in that series where I absolutely detested that woman. Yes. And then there's other times where I'm sitting there totally on her side. Yeah, Mickey, she's absolutely brilliant. And Paul Rust, his performance, he's executive producer on the show as well. I've never seen him in anything before, but now if I ever know that he's in it, I will watch it. It's one of those performances.
I love the flatmate that she has, the Australian girl.
Yeah, she's good.
And her very, very nerdy, lazy, big boyfriend who's just
Dustin, isn't it? I said Dustin. I can't remember.
Frustrating, but you can see he
has
issues. Idiot. They've all got issues in this, and it's just really very, very well written.
Issues where there's an episode where they all get on magic mushrooms and he breaks into someone's house and lays in their bed and won't leave because he thinks the coyote is his spirit guide.
And then you have the guy who's at work who she once had a fling with and everything else. No, we shouldn't really be talking about this too much.
I don't need to watch it now. Fine.
No,
but
no.
You
You've ruined
Avengers
the first
episode.
But to be honest with you, actually, as well, I have missed slight parts of this series where Stacey's been watching it and I've been in and out, and it's so easy to pick up. It's one of those that as soon as you get to know those characters, whenever you pick it up, you know exactly where they are through context, in their relationship and that
And so
time.
it's a Netflix.
It is a Netflix thing.
And it's just got to
not
show
very
how
long.
amazing Netflix is these days.
Yeah,
The stuff they're producing is incredible.
yeah. And it is, mate. This is what harkes back to the Daredevil thing. I think part of that decision was them to get rid of Daredevil because they don't need it now.
No, totally.
They look at it and go, this is the stuff we're knocking out. You've got Mowgli just come out to pretty much high praise so far.
We need to talk about that.
You know, you've got this series, Love, it's what I would expect from showrunners like HBO or somewhere like that, that they're knocking out prime entertainment and programming. But this is from Netflix, who, 5 years ago, people,
joke, weren't they?
People were still trying to get to grips with this and think, is this really going to be the future? And now, yeah, it is. You look at this, and I don't think in 15 years' time we're going to have things like Sky and cable and all these programmers, because it's going to go this way. And honestly, I mean, it's a bit strange. We don't usually talk about series like this on here, but I had to bring it up because I have just been engrossed in this quaint little. So I'd say dark comedy. It's not really dark. It
has dark moments.
It's a dramatic comedy. You know, it's got some real moments where it kicks you in the gut.
Another great series I would really recommend, which is on the very same vein, if you like, is A Good Place.
I didn't like it much. I enjoyed what I saw, and I love.
It's very quirky.
What's her name? Kristen Bell, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kristen Bell. I like her.
And Ted Danson.
And there's some funny moments in it. I just think it's one of these that's run its course to me. It had a good premise, but how long can you continue that premise?
I think what's happened with Netflix is that they've been looking at all of their figures and seeing what is being watched, and obviously cancelling shows. And this one has already got another series after this one, I think. So they're very optimistic with this. But again,
I do think that is one thing that they have Netflix over a lot of other programming and a lot of other stations, is that they can completely control and monitor their numbers.
Well,
so for instance, my house, I leave my Sky Box on sometimes, you know, and I'm sure a lot of people do. I put Sky and I turn the TV off and the Sky Box is still playing. How many shows is that recording, essentially? You know, I'm using air quotes, that a viewer is watching that program. I've not watched Cash in the Attic since I was about 15. And I'm sure that every day, you know, in a way, somewhere in the ether, I'm registering as a viewer of that. And with Netflix, you have to physically push play.
How could the BBC ever say that they get 8 million viewers for something like EastEnders?
Beastie Benders.
How would they?
There's nothing better on a Sunday with a hangover.
If you've just got an aerial sitting on your roof.
I haven't got an aerial. It blew down in the wind. But I used to watch Beastie Benders, as I call it. I used to watch that back in my younger days when I was going out on a Saturday night. I'd watch it on a Sunday when I was feeling rotten.
The Omnibus.
I'd watch it. Yeah, the Omnibus. And for that 2.5 hours, I'd feel like my life was so much better than theirs. I didn't feel as bad.
I've not watched that since Den and Angie were in it.
Well, yeah.
And I used to like Angie.
So, Andy, anything else? Anything else you've watched this week?
Not that I can think of, to be honest with you, mate. No, nothing that sticks out. I've just been busy working again.
Jeremy. So we both watched Mowgli on Netflix.
Yeah.
And I think I messaged you after I'd just seen it, hadn't I?
Yeah.
And I think it was just 3 letters, which was wow.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. I know I've known other people who've given it 5 out of 10, but I think that it's better than the Disney, the air quote live action Disney thing. It's a completely different take. It's not a kids movie.
It's captivating.
By any stretch of the imagination.
Enchanting.
The kid who was Mowgli was incredible.
Oh, my goodness.
And to stand out amongst a cast like that,
yes,
you know, Christian Bale and Andy Serkis and Kate Blanchett and all these people, is a thing in itself. But I thought it was incredible. I mean, there were bits in it where even I went, "Oh my God!"
Yeah.
You know,
it has some moments
without ruining it for anyone. But
you'd have some moments in it where you think, "Okay, this needs to be watched by children who are okay with seeing a little bit of blood here and there."
It's not for children. It's too dark.
Now, I watched it with my girlfriend and her eldest son, who was absolutely refusing to watch it. This is for kids. This is for kids. I don't want to watch this. I want to watch Orange is the New Black. He's 13, right? So after about, I would say about 10, 15 minutes, his questions and his resistance stopped, and he just was enjoying it. And I could see the tension. I could see him laughing at moments. I could see that he was really getting very engrossed in the story and how it was changing slightly from the Jungle Book story that we've known. And I think Andy Serkis has clearly shown he can direct a beautiful film. He was able, obviously, to get a cast that, honestly, I couldn't tell for a little while who Christian Bale was playing. I
had to look it up. Yeah, I had to look it up.
Hang on, who is he in this? Because his voice was just so different. Kate Blanchett, she's narrating, and she plays the snake.
Carl.
And
didn't Christian Bale come out this week and say that he's fed up with doing transformations for movies? It must have been a lot of hard work turning into a panther.
Well, I tell you what, mate, he did a phenomenal job.
I think the thing with the stylistics of it as well, it wasn't supposed to be photorealistic like the Disney version. Yeah. It looked like they were cartoon animals.
I would say the one thing that really, really made those characters come to life was the eyes. I found the eyes really quite something in this. The panther's face had a lot of shine, like a black velvet.
I think
the eyes were just
the eyes thing. I think eyes have always been the hardest thing to do in CGI. They're always the window to the soul, and I think when you're doing CGI, that's the bit where it falls.
That's what Polar Express, everyone says about that, isn't it?
Yeah,
they've got dead eyes.
They've got dead eyes, and it happens a lot. You see it in the Animatrix, in the CGI, the Flight of the Osiris. I think it's Flight of the Osiris. That part, the eyes don't look right. Everything else looks gorgeous.
Well, they've done
even
a phenomenal
now.
job in this.
But with this, again, this is Andy Serkis, and the other film that rings true to that to me is Planet of the Apes, and I think it's something to do with his style. Those chimps in that film are alive. Those eyes are. Yeah. They've got life behind them, and I think this is part of his. I'm glad to see this, that you're giving it a positive spin, because I've been wanting to see this, but there's still trepidation because I don't want him to foul, because I don't want Andy Serkis to be knocked back ever from continuing his conquest of being amazing.
Andy, I don't think there'll be any point in making a film with CGI characters that you wanted to look lifelike if Andy Serkis wasn't doing the job. Absolutely not. This man has brought something to the table, I think, that shows clearly that he knows exactly what he's doing in order to make someone that has got dots all over his face and the camera sitting on the top of his head and the way that these graphics creators can manipulate and change from being a human into whatever character this is. He is phenomenal at this, and the only way this was going to work is if he was doing it all, and he's done a phenomenal job. It's a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10 for me, absolutely. But I would say this child actor has brought something. Where he's found this kid from,
he was amazing, wasn't he?
Incredible, really, really incredible, and it's moving, really, very moving, and I came away from it with a little bit of that kind of, bottom lip tremble. You know what I mean?
No, I don't get that.
It doesn't surprise me with you, to be honest with you, mate.
He wouldn't. But
if I start playing the Hopes advert music, you'll start crying, won't you?
Can't stand brass bands. No, honestly, phenomenal job, and highly recommend that, mate. Really superb stuff. Jeremy, what else have you watched this week?
Well, I've been fairly prolific with my watching. I have discovered TV show called The Northman on Netflix, because I saw the trailer and it looked like I was playing multiple roles in it. It's really funny. It's my new favourite comedy, and I can't wait to get through all of it. It's basically I imagine it's almost like Vikings meets The Office. It's kind of
that's the vibe I got from the trailer. I'm glad you've enjoyed this, because I've been looking at it for a while, thinking
really
I want to see this. The bit that got me was the Office bit, like you say, is when they're standing on the cliff in the trailer, and that's the you have to jump off the cliff, and the first guy does it, he splats, and then the other's like, yeah, no, we're okay, it's not for us.
It's not for me. I don't.
Yeah.
But it's really fun. I mean, the cast is great. It's quite a small cast because it's tiny little villages, but it's really funny. I've really enjoyed it. So it's my new little favourite, and I can't wait to watch more of that.
Does it have like an overarching story, or is it just one of those that just nicely plods along with?
Oh no, there is an overarching story, but it's just mental. It's just
right,
really, really weird.
Okay, I'm not going to ask more because I can see you struggling not to spoiler it. So I don't want
to ruin it. It's just, and it's not like one of these slapstick laugh out loud things. It's just something you watch and you go, that's funny.
I got kind of a Taika Waititi kind of vibe from the comedy.
I get that as well. Yeah,
that sort of dry, with a Korg, where it's in the middle of something dramatic's happening, but he just manages to say something in a way that makes you chuckle.
Yeah,
but it continues the vibe of the rest of the show. Like that's what I kind of got.
It's weird. It's funny, and more people should watch it just because I've recommended it, and so therefore
watch some tonight, mate.
And movie wise, what have you been watching movie wise?
I've watched a lot this week. Where I've done Lake Placid, I've done Jaws, because they're two of my
movie.
I've never seen it. I've never seen the Spice Girls movie. I watched retro wise. I watched Deathstalker. Has anyone seen that?
No.
It's like someone watched Conan the Barbarian.
Yes.
But what that needs is a much smaller budget, worse acting, and more boobs. So it was great.
Okay, you lost me up until the last one there.
Yeah.
Okay. And what else have you seen?
I watched. I went onto Amazon and it said, because you watched this, you might like this movie. And I think it was called The Evil Outside or Evil of the Night, something like that. It was terrible. It had David Carradine in it. So I thought, it can't be that bad. Basically, it was some kind of weird 70s soft porn with vampire aliens in it. It was very strange.
Vampire alien soft porn. What was this called?
Evil of the Night or Evil in the Night.
Evil in the Night. Right, cheers.
And I just, I'm committed to this show. So it's an old movie. I thought, well, it's retro. I have to watch it. I watched it to the end. And afterwards, I was like, I can't figure out if I was, aroused or confused. It's just really, really weird. Very strange movie.
What else?
I started watching The Watchmen today, but I didn't get to finish it, unfortunately. I watched Love Actually today because it's now Christmas, so I'm allowed to watch Love Actually.
Right.
Oh God, there's loads I've watched this week. I'm gonna start writing them down.
I'm actually lying because I did actually watch 2 films last night, but I went round Charlie's house and I didn't leave till 5 this morning. So
I watched I Kill Giants.
Oh yes, you did. You told me, yes.
And if you two watch it, I think there's a twist at the end that I didn't see coming till fairly close, and I was like, "Oh my word!"
It's a book, so I'm aware. But
is this on Amazon Prime?
No, this is
it's on Netflix.
Netflix,
I saw this trailer last year, and originally I think it was going to drop at cinemas, and I think it did, but it was a very limited release.
Yeah.
And it kind of fell off my radar because of that. I saw the trailer and I was full on, great, I want to see this. Right up my mum's street too, so I sent her the link straight away. She was like, "Yeah, I'll go with you." But then it fell off my radar, and then I saw this on there probably about last week before. I saw the trailer on there for it, and I was like, "Oh, hell yeah, I'm in for this." I just haven't had time to sit down and watch it. I just keep forgetting. It's not one of those that, but it looks amazing.
It just
right up my street.
I've not read the book. I'm not really aware of it, but it was just really, really good. I mean, you'll both love it. I don't doubt for 1 minute.
I've just written it down.
Hang on. It's just said we'll both love it. This is coming from the guy that said Evils of the Night, right? And it has a 3.3 out of 10 on IMDb, and the poster art has a rip-off. Hang on, I'm got to dim this briefly here, all right, because you can't see it otherwise. What ship is that up there, Adam?
Oh, fantastic. Okay.
Millennium Falcon. Yeah, this looks great, Jeremy.
I didn't say it was good. I said it was weird. And I'm committed. I'm committed to my calls.
It's got everything
And
you said. I mean, there's a woman having her neck pumped of blood while she's half undressed, being grabbed by severed hands, with the Millennium Falcon and 2 alien vampires floating in a bubble above her. So
yeah, there you go.
it's all of the above, really. It ticked all the boxes.
You imagine all of that, but bad.
Okay.
It's not even a movie that I would recommend. I've seen it. I'll now watch it again.
So 2 things, Jeremy. One was last time we spoke and we did the last podcast together, we were talking about you finishing off Altered Carbon. So have you got any further with Altered Carbon?
No, I've been too busy watching
Other
Vampire
stuff.
Space Aliens.
Yeah.
I'm afraid.
And Watchmen, how far did you get and why did you not finish that off?
I didn't finish it off because I thought I've got to commit a severe amount of time to this. And I want to be able to sit and enjoy it properly. I've not watched it for quite a long time, so I thought I'd give it a go.
Okay.
So instead, I put the Xbox on and shot a lot of people.
Right. But now, one thing we did do together as well during the week was we both watched Moon at the same time.
We did, yes.
You were
Another
too
one I
busy
watched.
messaging me during it, and I did actually just say, "Can you just watch the film and concentrate?" So
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the movie.
Great.
I think it was. I think it telegraphed its story quite. I figured it out quite early on. I'd messaged you when I figured it out at night.
Yes.
But it was enjoyable. Good Sam Rockwell performance. I enjoyed it. I'm not sure I'll watch it again because there's lots of movies I haven't seen yet that I need to watch, which I've got Vampire Space Aliens.
Yeah, I think it does. I think it deserves further watching.
Yeah, but you should stop watching films about vampire aliens and watch real stuff. Because I'm sorry, I've just seen the tagline for this movie as well. I'm sorry, I'm going back to this now because I'm
you
all
have to
in.
blame Amazon. It told me I
Tagline:
needed to watch
alien
it.
vampires have just landed from outer space in search for one substance they need to survive: teenage blood.
Oh God.
Vacationing teens are systematically kidnapped and taken to a strange rural hospital run by a mysterious group that need their blood.
How could you not want to watch it? But I trust Amazon. When I turn on Amazon, it said, because you watched Devil Woman from Mars, you'll enjoy this. And I thought, well, how could I? They obviously know me. They've got some algorithm there. So I'll watch that
if
movie.
they offer you Nightmare Sisters, Humanoids from the Deep, or Chopping Mall.
Can I point out Humanoids from the Deep? The Doug McClure movie that I really enjoy.
He knows what it is as well.
I love Humanoids from the Deep.
Doug McClure, you loser. Right, okay, hang on.
How can you not love a Doug McClure movie? Did you not watch?
Who is Doug McClure? I've never even heard of
what?
that.
The one they take the mick out of in
Land That Time Forgot.
In The Simpsons with Troy McClure. Hi, I'm Troy McClure.
Doug McClure did Land That Time Forgot. I think he did.
How about the Deadly Spawn? Do you know this one? The Deadly Spawn?
No, I don't know.
I know you're not going to know
Spawn.
it. He's a weirdo.
Yeah, he's a weirdo, definitely.
Chopping Mall?
I know of Chopping Mall. I haven't seen it.
The Brain?
I know of that. I may have seen that when I was younger, actually.
Extro?
Oh yeah, me and Steve watched Extro together. Yeah.
Now that I've seen in the video shop. I remember the cover for that.
I love it. Well, when Tony grows up, he's going to be just like Daddy. I'm not going to ask what it's about.
Oh,
yeah.
Good guy.
Extro's a cheap alien ripoff.
Yeah,
it was. Wasn't
it? Yeah.
Oh, well, yeah, I watched that this week, maybe.
I know you've seen Galaxy of Terror.
That pops up quite a lot on my.
Forbidden
my
World.
too.
It isn't. It's not the water pigeon one, is it? Forbidden World is the big weird spider creature.
Yes, the big weird spider creature.
Yeah, I watched that in the last week as well.
So
Man,
you liked me, you thought it was very good, and yeah, I'm very pleased that you did see it because I think it's a beautiful film. Duncan Jones, David Bowie's son, did a marvelous job. I
only found out that was David Bowie's son this week. We were talking about Duncan Jones the other week. I had no idea of Bowie's son.
Well, there we are.
Zowie Bowie, isn't it?
He went on to do the Warcraft film and Mute, which is also on Netflix. Which is
I quite like the Warcraft movie. That was quite fun.
Very, very,
it's a good fantasy movie, mate. It's a good. It's just a shame that. It's weird because it hit Chinese audiences. Love that movie.
Yeah.
There's even talk about a potential sequel because it did so well in China and it made its money there. Now, that's fine if that's it's. I've played World of Warcraft. I wasn't completely invested in it. I played it for about 6 months, and I can see it's one of the greatest games ever made. I can see that it's not for me. It's not about whether or not you like something. You have to see the bigger picture, and World of Warcraft is one of the greatest things ever made. Technically and scope-wise, there is nothing else like it. And I can see why a lot of the fan base were upset with Duncan Jones' movie. However, that would be studio involvement probably more than anything else, because these things never transpire the right way. We've never had a good Dungeons and Dragons movie. And there's talk about a new one coming out next year of them that's in pre-production. And I think you're a double-edged sword if you take on a property like this. To be honest with you, it's never going to go right in one way. Same as Star Wars, there's always going to be someone that's upset with it. This is just a smaller, I mean, albeit a massive following, but a smaller following than Star Wars fans, and a lot of that probably crosses over anyway. But I really enjoyed it. I can't fault the film as a fantasy movie.
Same with Valerian. That got a terrible review. No one wanted to watch it, and it was a movie. What about, have you seen John Carter?
Yeah,
John Carter of Mars?
Yeah,
that was a good movie. I don't know why.
Do you think they'll potentially
Everyone
make something
hated
like
it so much.
Magic the Gathering? Do you think Magic the Gathering could be a possibility as well? Because obviously
it could always be a possibility, but it's never going to land right.
No, exactly.
Especially
Someone's
with
always
something
gonna
like that,
find
because people make with Magic the Gathering, it's like a book, because it's not corporeal, it's not there, it's all in the head. The stories are made up there, and the characters are made and visioned in your head a lot of the time. Yeah, you've got your cards with the picture on, but their actions and how they play out is all made in the person who plays its mind. And as soon as you put that on screen, you alienate at least 50% of your viewers that have played that property. Same as World of Warcraft, you've got your main story, but let's be honest, the whole point of that game is to go in, jump in and play how you play and do what you do. And when you start putting a story to that, you've upset people.
Do you know how I thought this film was going to start, though? When I saw Warcraft, I thought it was going to start with some gamers round a board playing the game.
That'd be cool.
And as they were and I'm going to take over this and I'm going to take over that, and then it started to zoom into the board itself, and then the film became what was on the board.
Yeah,
I could. That's how I thought it was going to start. Somehow, I don't know
They're
why.
like Jumanji.
Yeah, kind of thing. You know, I did kind of think that's how it was going to be, with some guys being very descriptive, and I'm going to, we're going to push my army this way and that way, and whatever. And then it starts to be, the board becomes the film. I thought that was how it was going to go. And yet it was played out a very different way. I'm glad it did.
I love the perspective they took with that movie, with the orcs, that they weren't actually bad. It's all about, we say this with Star Wars a lot of the time with the Empire.
I watched Tucker and Dale this week as well.
Good film. I tried to get Charlie to watch that last night. But it's about perspective. You look at the Empire, and I'm sure Gary, the guy who works in marketing, right, on the Death Star, he's just doing his job. He's going home to his family at the end of the week, and he's earning money. And he looks at this. The Empire runs the galaxy.
Why wouldn't you want order when everyone's running around?
Exactly, and they look at the rebellion as terrorists. That's what they are, and it's that. You're right there, Jeremy.
Yeah, I started with a yawn.
I didn't know if it was a yawn or you were like having a heart attack on me or something. That you look in pain.
No. It's very true. It's your perspective on that world, isn't it? And how you would see it if you were in it. And I think they did a really great job on those orcs, and giving us their children and their families, and how they were going to deal with the ominous sort of situation that was appearing in front of them. And it was beautifully executed, I think.
It was destined to fail from the start of that movie, though.
It was a great shame.
It was, as soon as that first trailer dropped, the fallout from it wasn't good. It wasn't. There was nothing.
I think I was the perfect person to watch it, because I've never played Warcraft, so I had no expectations at all. And I just enjoyed it for what it was. It was a fun movie. I didn't feel that to tick any boxes for me.
This is the thing. Me, you, and Adam all here. I've played it, and I'm the right audience because I wasn't invested in it. And this is what I say. It's like if somebody did Star Wars and did it wrong, we would hate it. But there are people that have never seen Star Wars might turn around, watch that film, and go, "That was a really good film." And that's the difference. That's where we sit. We're in that bracket of someone making Star Wars wrong and have never seen Star Wars. We watch it and go, yeah, I like it. It's that thing, you know.
But it's like, the slew of remakes at the moment. If that's your first viewing of Evil Dead or Friday the 13th or Total Recall or Conan the Barbarian, that's your Conan and that's your friend and that's
if
your
you like
Jason.
that's fine, because you've never seen the other one, and I
The
understand
right ones.
Yeah, the right ones. Well, yeah, there is that. I mean, I'm always one of these. I believe start at the start, and you follow it through and learn that property as a whole. But even if you still get to the new Halloween, think it's your best one, then great, that's fine. Yeah, exactly. But it is that exact thing. If you've never played the game and you go and watch this film, you've got no expectations. So that's what it is. And you've watched a good fantasy film that looked pretty and was done by a great director.
Yeah.
There
Indeed
you go.
It was. Indeed it
and
was.
then we look at, exactly on the other end of that spectrum, look at the Hobbit movies. Critically panned. Even fans don't like them. Even after this time, they haven't grown like The Phantom Menace, where people actually go, oh, it's all right, actually, now. They look at it and go, it had these moments. I hate the Hobbit movies. And I am so into Lord of the Rings. And I was over the moon when these were coming out. And then I watched them and I was like, this isn't what I've grown to love. This isn't what I expect from this.
My main problem with The Hobbit is I don't really like Martin Freeman.
Yeah, that's one of my issues.
It just annoys me. I don't. He's probably a charming guy, but he's fine. He's okay in Sherlock. But other than that, I've never watched The Office, so I can't say that he was any good in that. But
I think somebody less
him.
Popular, less famous, probably could have done a better job. Personally,
yeah.
Someone unfamiliar and give them a chance to really shine.
Or someone the right size. I can't think of any good short actors, but just
perhaps. Yeah. Well, one of the films that you mentioned earlier, which was Watchmen, I rewatched Watchmen this week, and I absolutely, every time I see it, I see something else, and I understand a little bit more about how Zack Snyder has taken the comic book and developed his take on it.
I had a few choice words with Charlie last night about this movie. We was going through Netflix, doing the age-old, sitting there for 10 minutes trying to find something to watch. And I mentioned Watchmen. He was like, no, I've never seen it. I lost it. Yeah. I nearly came home, to be honest, at that point. But I said, put it on. He was like, it's 2 hours and 44 minutes or whatever he said. I was like, a waste, man. Friend of mine.
It's a good movie, even if you're not that much in the superhero movies. It's not.
The Watchmen is a cinematic masterpiece.
It is.
Regardless, even if you don't like that film, you cannot sit there and watch it and go,
wow.
Yeah.
Look at that. How did he get that to look like that? There's so many pieces in this film when I've actually rewound them back a few times to go, is that real? Is that CG? How did he get that shot? Really something special, and it's a great shame that the DC Universe is not going to probably have Zack Snyder in it, but we'll see how that goes. I rewatched Toy Story purely and simply because I wanted to see how it looked.
Not good.
It didn't look good at all, and I watched it on my TV, and I was a little bit like, these look quite poor. Like, I suppose it's a bit like looking at something like Fortnite and looking at something like, I don't know,
Call of Duty Black Ops 4.
Yeah. It was that different. But
I have no idea what either of them look like.
Sentimentally, it's
do you want me to floss for you? Because I can floss.
I don't believe you.
Sentimentally, it still touched home, and I was really, really still very touched by the film. I think it's again, the voices just match the characters beautifully, and I think that's what essentially you are watching is a story about toys and their relationship with Andy, and it was beautiful. I watched also Avengers and Age of Ultron and Infinity War with commentaries, and thoroughly enjoyed watching them with the commentaries. Really, really enjoyed watching them with commentaries.
Age of Ultron's probably better with the commentary on.
Do you know what? It really was, because there's some elements that are, again, in this film that I really, really love, and there were some parts of it that I didn't, but because of the commentary, it really brought out those parts
do it, Jeremy.
incredibly well. England Is Mine is another film that I saw, which is
Maybe after we recorded.
Just been uploaded to Netflix or Amazon Prime, I'm not sure. This is the story of Morrissey and the start of the band The Smiths. But I've due to the fact that I had to do a podcast today with part of Talk Star Wars called Round Table, which was a retrospective on Empire Strikes Back. I watched Empire Strikes Back twice this week. And again,
just to refresh yourself, just in case you've forgotten.
Just in case.
Yeah.
And again, but I watched them with the commentary on. Which one
I
was?
have to say Empire's probably, of the OT, the one I've watched the least.
Well, I think if you watched it with the commentary,
I agree
there
with
are
you
two versions of this. So you can watch it with George, and you can watch it with Carrie Fisher.
Have you ever watched it with audio description on?
No.
Do it. It's brilliant.
And then the second audio commentary has a lot more of the tech cast and the people behind the scenes, which is equally as interesting. So I watched it both ways. I'm sure I've done that several times because this is part of what's called the Legacy Collection, which came out, if you remember, on DVD. There was the 4-disc set with the 3 films, and then there was the bonus disc that had these fantastic extras and things on. And so yeah, watched Empire twice this week. So yeah, really Star Wars up, man, and wonderful.
I also watched Lake Placid again this week.
That's a good film, that.
I love
Oliver
Lake
Platt.
Placid. Yeah, the cast in that is just incredible. It's so well written, and the CG holds up well.
There you go.
Come on. Oh, I watched King Kong as well this week.
Peter Jackson. That's on Netflix now, isn't it? I saw that.
Yeah, I watched it today. Yeah, while I was cooking dinner.
Right, so this is Star Wars with audio description. Hang on.
Yeah.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far, far away.
Look at sat nav.
The words Star Wars appear in outer space, outlined in
I could do that.
rapidly shrinks away into the dark void. A slanted message crawls
We're
out.
going to get stopped for this, aren't we?
No, we're allowed 30 seconds.
Have either of you seen Ash v Evil Dead? I think it is. It called it on Netflix.
I love it. Yeah, I absolutely love it.
Yeah, is it very good?
You've not seen the Evil Dead movies, have you?
No, I haven't. No, so
Then it'll mean nothing to you.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Right.
You should watch the Evil Dead movies because they're fun.
You have to get to learn Ash's character.
Yeah,
I think, to appreciate.
Skip the first one because I know that's probably a bit much for you. There's a tree scene which is probably pushing it a little bit, which I prefer.
Yeah, I
but
like that scene. My video had blur marks at that point.
But if you just watch Evil Dead 2 and then Army of Darkness, especially Army of Darkness, is just pretty much a comedy. You'll get to learn the character of Ash and the fact that he's almost like Shaun in Shaun of the Dead. He's rubbish, but he's funny and he's quick-witted. Yeah, he's funny.
You know, there's the whole joke. He's got the Book of the Dead. At one point, he has to chant the words Klaatu Barada Nikto, like from Forbidden Planet, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just remind me again, sorry.
So when he forgets the words, isn't it? He's like Klaatu Barada.
The Zack Snyder movie is called, which one is that one?
Of what? Sorry.
One of the Evil Dead films, didn't?
No, he remade Dawn of the Dead.
He remade Dawn of the Dead. Thank you. Right,
again, the Romero and the Zack Snyder is nothing like Evil Dead. Evil Dead is pretty much a comedy.
Right.
Even the second one is dark, but it has its funny moments.
Yeah,
a lot of funny moments.
Shaun of the Dead is quite dark in places. I mean, it's graphic. Yeah. The gore is incredible. I mean, but if you're going to watch Ash vs Evil Dead, you need to watch Evil Dead 2 and 3. But you'll see it's really like, I mean, it's massively gory, but it's light-hearted. If you've seen Brain Damage or Brain Dead, I mean, the early Peter Jackson one, the goriest film ever made. It's just silly fun. It's kind of in that vein.
Yeah, you can have gore and have fun, and that's what what the Evil Dead series is. 2 is a remake of number 1, so don't bother with number 1.
Yeah, don't bother with number 1 because if you couldn't watch Walking Dead, you're not going to be able to watch the first Evil Dead. But Evil Dead 2 and 3, it's silly fun. It's not. It doesn't take itself too seriously, despite its subject matter.
Number 3 is ridiculously stupid.
Yeah,
Yeah, ridiculously stupid. And how many endings has that got? Alternate endings? It's like 6, isn't it, or something?
But I mean, I've read, I've got Bruce Campbell's autobiography, and it's just
I Am Bruce, isn't it?
if chins could talk. Was the
Oh,
one
that's
that I've
it. If
got.
chins could talk, yeah.
It's just, and he's so funny. You kind
You've
of
seen
think
Bubba Hotep, Adam, haven't you?
I did, yeah, I loved it.
There you go. There's more.
Yeah,
of,
but if you can watch Bubba
yeah.
Hotep, you can watch Evil Dead 2
Great.
and 3.
Okay,
Yeah.
wonderful. So next week, guys, we've got some Christmas movies to watch. We're going to be doing a show on Christmas films. I'm very much looking forward to participating with you guys. And if you can ping me over some messages on what to watch, will be really helpful, because I'm sure there's definitely some I haven't seen. I'm really looking forward to seeing The Christmas Vacation. What is that one called again? Sorry, it's gone right out of my mind.
National Lampoons.
National Lampoon. Yeah, really looking forward to seeing that again, which I think is probably the funniest of Christmas movies. And it'll be interesting to see what you guys rate
Elf.
in your sort of top 5 as your.
Elf.
Yeah, Elf is going to be your top one, isn't it? Surely.
It's going to be in there.
And I very much look forward to chatting with you guys over maybe an eggnog or something.
No,
Mince pies. Mince
no
pies
mince
and mulled
pie,
wine.
no eggnog.
Mince
pies
pie,
and
a bit of
mulled
mulled wine.
We're
drop of
gonna
Baileys.
start branding our own Retro Ink mulled wine every year now at Christmas. We're gonna sell it.
Empty the bottom of the Hoover bag into
I think
some
it
old
probably
off
will
wine,
start
and that'd be
with
brilliant.
cherry Dr Pepper, wouldn't it? Is that how it's going to start? You start with cherry Dr Pepper, and you start adding from there.
For me,
I'll add vodka
Yours
to
would be-
that.
yeah. I don't know. Maybe we'll do when we do our actual Christmas episode the week after for Christmas Day release. We'll get all Christmassy for that one.
That'd be
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
Okay,
Drunk
guys.
Yeah, it
Christmas.
does drop on Christmas Day as well. It's Tuesday, so that's
Yeah.
incredible. I haven't even got that's the best Christmas present anyone could ask for, isn't it? Another episode of Retro Ink. We're good.
We're good, aren't we?
Yeah. And so
Well,
are
it's
our
been an
listeners.
absolute. It's been a indeed, and we've got to say a big thank you to our listeners, because our listening figures are growing exponentially, aren't they?
Redonkulous this week, to be honest
Yes.
with you. I've been sharing updates with you two all week. And,
So
yeah.
we've got to say a huge thank you to those who are listening, who are recommending us and posting and sharing on our Facebook group. We'd love more interaction with you guys and comments.
Not too much though, because me and Jeremy don't really like people that much.
Really,
If you want to interact, do it with Adam. Like, we love you and all
I
that.
love it. It's
People.
just fantastic. It's just fantastic. So, thank you very much, guys. It's been a great show. Absolutely loved it. And do check out the other podcast on the Star Wars Commonwealth
Did you say that? He checked.
network. Go to StarWarsCommonwealth.com and check out all the podcasts that are there. And once again, thank you very much for listening.
And take your first steps into a larger world.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.
Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you very much, Adam. Be seeing you.
Be seeing you.